You guys, come on, let's finish this. Come on, wake up. Hello and welcome to day 3 of the 2021 Australian PC Awards. I'm your host, Nick Richardson. Let's finish this one off. Let's hand out some Components and Peripherals Awards, which are proudly presented by Aiton. They say clothes maketh the man, then peripherals and components maketh the PC. Those bits and pieces that you incorporate into your rig to make it truly yours. Whether you love a completely white build or want to light it up like a Christmas tree. You love braided USB cables, or you're that one person in the office who's really into cherry switches. What peripherals you use with your PC tells the world as much about you as the clothes on your back. And sometimes more, because I often game in the nude. And you know who else is nude? All right, our next chat is about a ton. Lots of the peripherals and components going into our PCs. Let's start it off, Chris. We saw a big jump with CPUs in 2020. What does that mean for memory and RAM?
Well, with memory, it's interesting that DDR4 now is very much a mature standard. It's been around for many years, and I guess we've reached the peak of DDR4 development before DDR5 comes online in the next generation. So it's really interesting that speeds around the DDR4 3600 mark are now only $5–10 more than a 2133 or a 2400 megahertz kit, and the fact that they are in the sweet spot for performance for both AMD and Intel systems. So these days it really makes sense to buy the faster memory because you're not leaving any performance on the table, and it costs just a handful of dollars more for the same sort of spec kit. So
I think the choice these days is a fashion statement. Which stick of RAM do you like the look of best? Which RGB implementation matches the rest of your gear to your personal taste? For many, none.
Because RAM has really, I feel like, has progressed from, it used to be just this stick that was in there, and now it's like a small weapon that I insert into my, looks like blades, like it looks like some sort of like ninja thing that I've got going on in there.
Little lightsabers.
Yeah, totally.
All your favourite colours.
It's very confronting. My PC, Dan, I thought was as cool as it could possibly get. Did cooling improve in 2020 at all?
I think we've seen kind of a peak in what coolers can do, but the interesting thing is that CPUs can actually take more advantage of that cooling now. So it's more important to have a good cooler these days than arguably it ever has been before, which means you can spend as much money as you want on a cooler and it's justified.
Joel, again, work from home coming in to factor. Monitors, we're seeing a huge amount being sold through 2020. What stood out for you in the monitor space?
We're getting some massive sort of ups in the refresh rate, which is great for gamers. But obviously for designers and other professional creatives, it's really important if you're working from home to have a big screen that is sometimes color calibrated. So we're seeing some improvements in the color specs that a lot of the monitors are getting, but also 4K is pretty standard, and that is nice. They're coming down in price, and they're really available for a home rig to set up a monitor. So it's come a long way, and it's been a good timing for all the lockdown situations we're getting.
I think the other real gain that 2020 saw with monitors was the ending finally of the G-Sync versus FreeSync war, with NVIDIA finally relenting and making not G-Sync an open standard, but making non-G-Sync monitors G-Sync compatible, and there's now hundreds of those. So that was a battle that the industry, nobody needed.
And how effective has that been? Is it
It's been
totally comparable?
Well, G-Sync's still technically superior, although there's not much in it, but prior to this, AMD FreeSync monitors were outselling G-Sync monitors 20-1, I'm led to believe. And NVIDIA just had to surrender on that fight. They just had to give up. So it's better for the consumer, because you're not locked into a particular monitor. In the old days, you'd buy a monitor that matched your video card, and that meant that for the 10 years you were going to run that monitor, you had to buy that brand of video card, either NVIDIA or AMD, which is stupid. No one wants that.
David, you're, and I'm sorry to everyone else, clearly the most fashionable one amongst us all.
Thank you, absolutely.
I want to talk about keyboards. Have we seen any major design improvements with keyboards over 2020?
Keyboards are one of those things where it's hard to reinvent the wheel, but we've seen companies like Razer come out with their analog switches, which are really, really impressive. That's my home system. And we're also seeing that keyboards, again, from work from home, now need to be jacks of all trades. You know, you want something you can game on at night and then work on during the day. So it needs to be good for typing, good for gaming, and that has certainly changed the way I've set up my home system.
We're also seeing some more diversification with switches. Cherry owned the Roost for 5 years or so, but proprietary keyboards, I think Razer and Logitech were the first ones to come out with those a few years ago, and we're seeing more and more of those, and some of them are very good. So it's difficult to know what you're buying if you're buying on the internet, because you don't get that tactile test in front of you, which is why it's important to read APC and TechRadar reviews. But there's now a lot more choice, and that's a good thing.
And also, a lot of people just working at home by themselves, so the click, click, clack doesn't really impact as many people, so you can actually go in for something a little more
It's true. We banned Cherry Blues from our office for that reason.
Did you really?
They're like little machine guns in your brain constantly.
You're a monster.
They're actually banned from my house because both my wife and I work from home. So
Right, okay, yeah. So there's a lot of very loud single people out there who are certainly working with those keyboards.
I don't care about my life. I'm keeping my Cherry Blue.
And what about mice? Keyboard, mouse, hand in hand, the kind of thing that, did we see a ton of improvement with mice over 2020?
Wireless is kicking off. We're seeing tons of low-priced, good wireless mice, and it's a great quality of life improvement. If you've never used a wireless mouse, I'd recommend it. They're really good, and high DPI as well. Like some gamer mice are up to 16,000 DPI, I believe, which is unnecessary as a 300 hertz monitor is, but they're nice to have.
And then moving on to cases as well, talk about reinventing the wheel. You've got to shove all this stuff somewhere. Were there any major design improvements, functionality improvements with cases over 2020?
It's all about mesh at the moment. That's the current trend. So we've been through our tempered glass phase, which is still there, but that's not the focus of attention. Now it's all about high ventilation, and to that end we're seeing cases with loads of good airflow design, which is should be the most important characteristic, and so that's the trend at the moment, and it's great to see.
not great for sound though.
Not great for sound. Everything's about compromise.
Should we just be having our computers open? If we put like a little hut above them so that it just protect anything from falling on them, is that the best version of what a computer could be? No. Like a you know how you go to a fancy restaurant, there's deconstructed hot dog? That, but a computer.
I've heard that if you make it pyramid shaped, you get another 200 megahertz on the CPU. Yeah. No, it's you want your air pressure, your negative air pressure inside, so that's why you leave your cases on, so it creates a path for the air to go in and out.
Is that what it is? I figured I could just sit there like fanning it with something the whole time.
Well, you could pay someone to do that.
You could pay for someone to do that. And then finally, a place that we have seen a lot of improvement has been routers over 2020. A big leap in Wi-Fi 6 and what you can actually get in that, Dan?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Wi-Fi 6 routers, coming into the market over the last few years. This year, more than ever, there's been actually devices that can make use of that extra speed. So, we've had smartphones and tablets that have been able to use Wi-Fi 6 for a couple of years, but laptops have only kind of just started catching up. And as we mentioned when we were talking about motherboards, you can find more and more motherboards that come with Wi-Fi 6 too. So that extra speed is no longer going to waste. If you spend the money on one of these more expensive Wi-Fi 6 routers, you actually get something out of it.
And it's come at the right time for this COVID working from home era. You've got a worst case scenario, say if a couple, both of whom are working at home and need all that bandwidth, if they've got kids that have been homeschooled as well, they need bandwidth to talk in video, to their teachers. Suddenly you've got this, daytime and nighttime requirement for 4 or 5 or 6 users, all video streaming at the same time while doing their work, and if their work involves shifting a lot of data up and down, it's Wi-Fi 6 could not have come at a better time.
That's the main reason to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6 is that you can have far more devices. The throughput won't be overly different to your Wi-Fi 5 AC, but with the new generation, you can have about 3 times the amount of devices connected to the same router, and they're all going to be getting the same throughput speed, which is great when you're working from home with all your kids and all of those extra devices that you have.
Well, speaking of tons of bandwidth, you're going to need it because there are a lot of awards coming up in this category. Our first component award is for the part of the PC I always want to overpurchase. Sure, I could get by with a mere 16 gig of RAM, and sure, any more than that is only seeing marginal gains, and I'm throwing my money away. And please, Nick, you have a mortgage, what are you doing? Think of your kids. But if you're saying 128 gigs of RAM is an option, why not just future-proof, you know? The finalists for Memory Maker are Thermaltake, A-Data, Crucial by Micron, Corsair, G-Skill, HyperX, and Team Group. And the winner is Team Group. Team Group's second awards win in this category for remarkable value and a competitive range. And taking home our highly commended, it is G-Skill, a range to please both enthusiasts and value seekers. You spent $4,000 on that PC, and I know when I spend $4,000 on anything, the last thing I want it to do is melt. And that's why I never buy more than $1,000 of ice cream at a time. And the finalists for cooling product are Asus ROG Ryujin 360, Corsair iQ H100i Elite Caplex Liquid CPU Cooler, Thermaltake Tough Fan 12 PWM High Static Pressure Radiator Fan, Be Quiet Pure Rock 2, and Noctua NHD15S Chromax. And the winner is the Corsair iQ H100i Elite Caplex, a cooler that hits just the right balance of performance, low noise levels, and value. And taking home the highly commended, it is the Noctua NHD15S Chromax. If you're looking for a high-performance air cooler, look no further. And the Be Quiet Pure Rock 2, a great step up from bundled coolers that offers excellent value. If the eyes are the window to the soul, then the monitor is the window to the soul of the person you just absolutely crushed in a 63-minute game of Dota. And you want to see that hurt in as many hurts as you possibly can. The finalists for monitor are the Asus ROG Strix XG27UQ, the Gigabyte M27Q, the Samsung Odyssey G9, the Samsung Odyssey G5, the Samsung Smart Monitor M7, the MSI Optics MAG272C, the Alienware AW3821DW, the Gigabyte G27F, and the LG CX OLED 48. And the winner is Alienware AW3821DW. A great gaming screen that really delivers for productivity and is very good value. And taking home our highly commended, it is the Gigabyte G27F. Amazing value for a 27-inch 144Hz IPS screen that does it all. And the LG CX OLED 48. For a TV, this is an incredible gaming monitor. My father worked for 30 years on the railroads until the arthritis got him. But the closest these hands have ever gotten to manual labor is using a mechanical keyboard. And the finalists for keyboards are the Asus ROG Strix Scope RX, the Corsair K100 RGB mechanical gaming keyboard, the Thermaltake Argent K5 RGB gaming keyboard, Razer Huntsman V2 analog, the Ducky 1-2 pudding, and the Logitech G915 TKL. And the winner is the Razer Huntsman V2 analog, a rare case of an expensive product delivering everything it promises. Analog keys are a game changer, literally. And taking home our highly commended, it is the Logitech G915 TKL, absolutely everything you could wish for in a wireless productivity keyboard, and the Ducky 1-2 pudding. No fancy tricks, but it's just beautiful to look at and use. Mice. You spend so much of your life sitting at your desk, scrolling and pointing and clicking and then kind of shaking it because it stopped working, and then you remember, oh, that's right, I didn't charge it. So you have to go find that one specific USB cable that it needs with the long connector with those special plastic prongs that clip into place in that really weirdly deep USB recess. Why are they so deep? Can we just use a normal USB cable, please? I'm begging you. Anyway, the finalists for mouse are the Asus ROG Chakram, the Razer Death Adder V2 Pro, Glorious Model O Wireless, and the Logitech G Pro X Superlight. And the winner is the Logitech G Pro X Superlight. Small, light, simple, and ideal for gaming as well as regular use. And taking home our highly commended, it is the Razer Death Adder V2 Pro. Updated sensor and extremely durable switches make this a great mouse for dedicated gamers. A good gaming headset should sit comfortably on the ears for long sessions, feature a built-in microphone that can be retracted or folded away discreetly, solid bass, not get too tinny on the high end, and should be able to withstand being ripped off your head violently when you get sniped halfway across the map. The finalists for gaming headset are the Asus ROG Strix Go 2.4, the Corsair HS75 XB wireless gaming headset for Xbox Series X, Razer Black Shark V2 Pro, HyperX Cloud Alpha S, and the Audeze LCD GX gaming headset. And the winner is the Razer Black Shark V2 Pro. Brings in key gamer features like 2.4 wireless and THX spatial audio in a quality package with top-notch sound. And taking home our highly commended, it is the HyperX Cloud Alpha S, priced at the upper end of value, but with premium features, and the Audeze LCD GX, supreme planar driver sound quality derived from audiophile cans. You bought everything else in this category, and most of it needs some place to live. You can get cases with windows. You can get cases with lights. You can get cases with windows and lights. You can get cases with lights around the windows. You can get cases with windows to show off your lights. The choices are nearly endless as long as they involve windows and/or lights. The finalists for cases are the Corsair 5000D, Thermaltake The Tower 100 mini case, Thermaltake Divider 300 ARGB, Fractal Design Define 7, Lian Li LanCool 2 Mesh, and Fantix Eclipse P300A Mesh Edition. And the winner is Lian Li LanCool 2 Mesh. Excellent air ventilation plus styling that's got universal appeal. And our highly commended are Thermaltake The Tower 100, a sleek vertical mini ITX case with nice cable management, and Fantix Eclipse P300A Mesh Edition under $80, yet with tempered glass, a PSU cavity, and great styling. You signed up to the most expensive NBN plan with the fastest speeds and unlimited data. You bought a $4,000 PC, a $1,500 monitor, and a $500 gaming chair. All that stands between you and actual decent gaming is the $49 router that your telco provided you when you moved in. Ditch that, get one of these instead. The finalists for router are Asus Zen Wi-Fi XT8, Asus Zen Wi-Fi CT8, D-Link Cover X1873, Tender MW12, Linksys VLOP Wi-Fi 6 AX4200, and Netgear Nighthawk AX8. And the winner is the Netgear Nighthawk AX8. Enhanced security and top performance, it may be expensive, but the RA-X80 is the Wi-Fi 6 router to get. And our highly commended is Tender MW12. Fast, well-featured, easy to use with good, reliable coverage. Everything you could want from Wi-Fi. Next up, it is the Reseller Award, which is proudly presented by Samsung. This award goes to the heroes. Those on the front lines, every time a new 3080 came into the warehouse, there they were, putting it up on the website, updating the back end, fielding angry email after angry email from those who missed out, unwavering, unrelenting, but finally recognized. The finalists for Reseller are PLE, M-Wave, ScorpTech, Aftershock, Computer Alliance, UMart, PCK Scare, and JB Hi-Fi. And the winner is PLE. PLE's excellent website allows easy editing of pre-built designs, and their unique and wide range of cases is impressive. And taking home our highly commended, it is ScorpTech, an unbelievably huge range of gear that covers everything you could possibly want. We are nearly there with the penultimate award for the evening, and it is the Excellence Award, which is proudly presented by the very excellent Dell. We give this award to the person, product, or technology that advanced the PC more than any other in 2020. Picking the finalists was a satisfying discussion of what really stood out and deserved our most special acknowledgement. The winner of this award usually goes on to influence the evolution of PC tech well into the future after making its big first impression in the award year. It is time to talk about excellence in PC technology in 2020. The Excellence Award is for the person, product, or tech that advanced the PC more than any other in 2020. So we've got our list of nominees. Just thought we'd run through them and we can just touch on a few things. Chris, I wanted to start with NVIDIA DLSS 2.0, which is a big deal for 2020.
It is. Essentially, it provides free performance, which is what everyone wants at the end of the day. Especially with ray tracing taking a significant, making a significant performance hit on your gaming, frame rates, adding something like DLSS to regain that performance that you would otherwise have lost, I think is a huge deal. It arguably does as much for advancing ray tracing as ray tracing itself, especially with the consoles and ray tracing becoming more and more integrated into current games. I just think anything that adds free performance, in some cases with the DLSS2, it's like 20 or 30% or more with basically no image quality loss. So for me, free performance, I'll take it.
It's also really interesting to see NVIDIA. I've been to so many NVIDIA press events over the years, and they bang on constantly about their AI in the cloud. And it's now that we're seeing that in a tangible, real-world way. So it's really clever technology. The way DLSS works, they pre-analyze the game, yet continue to learn, understanding the game and its scenes. And so in a way, you've got the cloud doing half of your GPU's work for you. And it's just the beginning for NVIDIA. They're so focused on this area.
Dan, talk to me about ultra fast refresh monitors.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen screens creeping up in those refresh rates for years and years now, and gamers have always been able to justify spending a bit more on them. But in 2020, we've seen professional monitors reach kind of new highs with 240 hertz screens going for upwards of $1,000 or more dollars, and they've done studies actually that prove the more hertz you have, the better you are in these online games. So there's some justification for spending more on one of these screens.
It also just looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. In 2019, NVIDIA did a study on all of their users and found that if you have a 100 hertz monitor, you would increase your gaming FPS, your first-person shooter performance by 37%, whereas if you had 180 FPS, you were getting 90% improvements in first-person shooters. So hertz makes a difference.
That's why I suck at first-person shooters.
Frags are low.
It's got to buy better gear.
Blame the tools.
And then Ben, AMD also, I feel like 2020 was the year that AMD came in unto itself again. Their architecture has been nominated twice for this award.
Yeah, look, AMD's come a long way since the introduction of the original Zen core with the Ryzen. We're now up to a third iteration. And the first two really enabled AMD to get a foothold with large core count CPUs and take it to Intel and really offer the consumer so much more for a much lower price. But with the Zen 3 core, the single core performance is now toe-to-toe with Intel. It depends on which benchmark you look at, but it's not ahead or behind by more than 3 to 5% in most cases, and that's just for the single core. And that was the last step that AMD needed to make with the Ryzen architecture that they've seen now with the Zen 3 core to, continue offering compelling products for at least the next two years or so.
And then, Joel, we've spent a lot of the awards talking about how Intel have lost some ground, but they gained some when it came to onboard graphics.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been a big battle in the graphics space in systems. Apple was obviously, we've mentioned a lot, they've been doing some really great stuff, but Intel really came to play the game quite well in their integrated graphics. They have essentially doubled integrated graphics performance from their last generation, which means that professional laptops are getting in the vicinity of being able to play full AAA titles at low 1080p settings, which is something that's never really happened before. And it's great that it's across the board and coming onto every system with an Intel GPU and integrated GPU.
And I'm glad that Intel have had a moment here to shine, because they're about to get smacked down again when we talk about the Apple M1, which is just, we've mentioned it tons of the awards, but its excellence cannot be understated.
Definitely. I banged on a lot about how great Intel's integrated GPU is in all of my laptop reviews, but what is, again, perhaps really surprising is that Apple managed to make an integrated GPU that's on par with this really, good new stuff from Intel. So, again, it's still kind of Apple for me that's been impressing in that space, definitely.
Well, let's see who it is good enough for as we find out who wins our Excellence Award. And the finalists are Apple M1 processor, ultra-fast refresh rate monitors, Intel Iris Xe graphics, AMD Ryzen 7 4800HS, AMD Zen 3 core, and NVIDIA DLSS 2.0. And the winner is Apple M1 processor. The biggest WTF moment in computer processors for 20 years. And let me tell you, there's been a lot of them. And taking home the highly commended, it is the Intel Iris Xe graphics. Intel doubled integrated GPU performance for light 1080p gaming on Ultrabooks. We have made it to the end of the night, which means we are at the Gold Award, proudly presented by Get Price. Compare and save on your next purchase. Our final award is the big one. It's for the best company overall, and this one was judged by you in a vote that included every single finalist company from every category in the 2021 awards. Which company nailed it all perfectly, delivering amazing gear that we can trust, the support we expect, and real innovation that stands out. Our Gold Award winner was voted on by readers of APC, TechLife, TechRadar, PC PowerPlay, PC Gamer, and T3, with the winner getting the well-deserved recognition of being the most highly regarded company in the world of PC for 2020. These are the finalists in all other categories. And the winner is Asus. Asus is the company that does it all, and they do it well. With a reputation for quality and reliability, great engineering, and always pushing the industry forwards with clever new products and ideas, Asus covers a huge spectrum of product categories and is trusted and genuinely loved by its customers. And taking home the highly commended, it is AMD, surging forward with its massive industry shakeup. AMD all but owns the home-built market and is carving ever-increasing market share in pre-builts and servers. And our final highly commended is Aftershock PC, proving that people like things that are powerful and look amazing. Aftershock arrived from Singapore just a few years ago and is now the go-to reseller for truly stunning PCs and laptops. And that is it for the 2021 Australian PC Awards. Congratulations to all of our winners. You have made gaming and PC ownership in 2020 a true haven. Again, a huge thank you to our sponsors Asus, Samsung, ESET, Dell, ADATA, Aftershock PC, Aiton, Corsair, Crucial by Micron, Gigabyte Notebooks and Components, MSI Notebooks and Components, PC Case Gear, Razer, Thermaltake, and Western Digital for helping make the 2021 Australian PC Awards possible. We'll see you next year, hopefully live in person again, because it's just not the same when you're not being heckled by the Razer reps down in the front row. Goodbye.